Good afternoon, guys. I know it's kind of late, but yet I'm kind of hungry, so I'm gonna go ahead and make me a pork chop. I don't have no steak. Well, I do have steak. I didn't take out steak. I took out pork chop, and I'm gonna teach you how to cook a pork chop to taste just like a steak, and it's actually more tender than a steak. All right. So right now I'm about to teach you guys or show you guys how to cook a pork chop that tastes like a steak, but yet more tender than a steak. Trust me. You first want to apply grease into the pan so the pan can sizzle when you drop your meat in. And guys, I want you guys to remember if I do anything that you don't think is cleanliness, don't worry about it because you're not going to eat this pork chop. I'm not cooking this for nobody but myself. So you see me do anything that you don't like, don't worry about it. You don't have to eat it. You won't be eating it. I'll be eating it. My food, the way I cook it. So right now we do have like a teaspoon or two of grease in the pan so that the pan can get hot and we can start searing our pork chop because you don't want the pork chop to stick to the bottom of the pan. Once again, we're going to saute pork chops just like a steak. It's going to taste like a steak, but be more tender than a steak, yet juicy. The other white meat, pork. We already have sliced up one bell pepper and one onion. We have the pan already hot. You can hear the meat sizzling, but it didn't sizzle as hard as I wanted to. So I waited a minute or two before I set the second one in there because the pork chop is cold, so it's going to reduce the heat of the pan. It should be ready. That's how you want to hear your pan. Let the pork chop sizzle. We want the pork chop to start browning on the bottom. You don't want to flip it too often, but you don't yet want it to burn. We want to brown the bottom of it. And also make sure you keep the grease all over the pan because we're going to add two more pork chops to this. But you're not going to add all your pork chops into this pan until these pork chops almost get brown on one side. If you put too much meat in one pan at one time, it's going to cause the pan to cool down. And also, it's going to cause the pork chop to start making juice. And what you want to do is not allow the pork chop to make juice. You want to hear the sizzle from the pork chop. The pork chop has already been pre-seasoned. So I think it's about time we can flip it once. So we have already basted in the flavor on that side of the pork chop. Since the pan is now frying good, make sure you rotate the grease some. And we're going to add additional pork chop in the pan because the temperature of the pan is ready for the second pork chop, the third pork chop, which has already been pre-seasoned and also pre-cut. Ooh, almost lost the pork chop. I almost lost the pork chop. But anyway, guys, when you have a center cut pork chop, it has like a white band going around it. And if you don't split that white band open, your pork chop gonna bubble up in the middle. Add the pork chop in, flip the other one. Always put a split in the pork chop because you do not want the pork chop to bubble up in the middle. When y'all cook pork chops, you know that the middle part rises. It's because you got to cut that pork chop like this to ensure that that pork chop don't rise. While we're allowing those pork chops to brown and sear, we're gonna go ahead and cut our potatoes. The potatoes has already been washed. We need to turn the fire up because it's starting to make juice. We want it to fry. We don't want three pork chops to cause the pan to lose its temperament. We're gonna go ahead and slice three small potatoes into round circles because we're gonna do pork chops and some fried potatoes. Yellow potatoes are the best potatoes. They're kind of sweet, they're easy to slice, and they cook really well. Slice off any bad parts of the potato. We still allow those pork chop that has been pre-seasoned to go ahead and brown before we add the other one into the pan. If anybody need another cutting knife, you can get this cutting knife right here from the Dollar Tree. It's only $1, and you see it slices really well. When it go dove, you can just go ahead and throw it away. So the pork chop is now frying. We want to flip it again, but we don't want our pan to start to burn. So now we want to go ahead and add the last pork chop in before we add any of our vegetables in it. Our pork chops are starting to look like this, nice and seared. You want your pork chop to start looking like this before we start taking it to the next level. All we try to do is sear in the flavor to the pork chop because we frying it like a steak. A lot of people are misconstrued about cooking steak. They think you cook a steak in a lot of butter, but actually you should start your steak or your pork chop, your fried pork chop off in a little bit of grease, teaspoon of grease, or it can fry and not make a lot of water. Right now I dropped a piece of potato inside the grease to see how hot this grease is. And it's starting to bubble a little bit, so it's letting me know my grease is almost getting ready for the wedges to go in. If anybody want to ever plant potatoes and you don't know how to grow potatoes in your garden, you cut these pieces off, which is the eye on the potato, and you just put this part bottom down into your gardens of topsoil, and this right here is the root, and it makes the potato multiply and have more potatoes. And that's the way you grow potatoes. With those little things that grow out of potatoes, is how you grow potatoes. You just cut it, sit it in the ground, cover with dirt, and you can produce more potatoes. Okay, now since the pork chop has started to fry, all of them have started to fry. We're gonna go ahead just for the heck of it. Add a little more seasoning to it. We're gonna do some I like a little lemon pepper on mine. A little bit of onion powder on it. Bring down our heat a little bit because I think it is starting to burn. We're gonna bring in a teaspoon of 1 teaspoon of fresh butter, natural butter, no margarine. We turn our grease for our fries down because we don't want our fries to start cooking yet. Also, we want to go ahead and add a little more onion powder to it because now we're about to go ahead and add in our vegetables. Now, I am heavy with the onion powder, the garlic, and lemon pepper. I don't use a lot of sodium in my food, so I do season my food with lemon pepper and things like that. But mainly onion powder and garlic. Our pork chops are starting to look like this. They have already fried and sauteed and basted inside of their flavoring. So now we're gonna wait until the butter get down there and heat the pan back up, and we're gonna go in and add our vegetables, but not too soon because we do not want our vegetables to get cooked before our pork chops do. Now we're gonna go in and take some of our onions and our bell peppers that we pre-sliced and add them into it. Turn your fire back up a little bit because this is gonna cause it to steam, a little moisture to come out the vegetables. So you want to turn your onions, your fire back up a little bit so they can fry. We want to get another teaspoon of butter. Add it to it. And let it fry some more. We can turn our grease back up on our fries so we can go ahead and start, the grease can go ahead and start warming back up. Saute pork chops, season like a steak. Once you cook it like this, you won't be able to really tell the difference between a steak and a pork chop if you cook it right and season it right. No table salt, black pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and lemon pepper. Set it and forget it. Put a lid on it and let it do its own thing. Run your heat down a little bit. Shake it up to make sure nothing's sticking. We got our grease going back up for our homemade fries. Oh my God. Oh my God. That look good. That look good already. Wait a minute. That look good already. Look at that. That look good. Look. That's frying just right. That's frying just right. Wait till the onions and stuff right down on top of it. That's frying just right. Just trying to make sure ain't nothing sticking. Bring the fire back up some. Let it cook. Let it do what it do. Piece of butter. Fire back up. You control the way the food cook. I go up and down with my temperature of my food. When I feel like it's sticking or about to burn, I drop the temperature. If I feel like it's starting to cook too slow, I raise it back up. I do not want my food to boil. I want it to fry. The reason I have not applied the top back on it yet because I'm looking for that sizzling sound where the steak is frying, where the pork chop is frying and not making a lot of juice. Now I put my top on it so it can steam down some. My grease is not completely hot yet. It's not talking to me. It's not talking to me, so I need for it to talk to me. Once that grease starts talking to me, I know it got enough temperature in it to hold the rest of the potato french fries. Yes, this is used grease. It's just crumbs off the pork chops I fried the other day, which gives the grease a little bit of seasoning. Got the little brown on it. It's doing what it do. that little burn on it. That's what we want to have, that little burn on it. That's the flavor right there. Spread them out like a deck of cards. Turn the grease up. Add the rest of the vegetables. You don't want all your vegetables to cook at one time because you want them to still hold the texture. You don't want your potatoes too thick. Some will get cooked, some won't. Remember, this knife is sharp and it comes from the Dollar Tree for $1. $1 from the Dollar Tree. Y'all go back in a little bit with that a little bit of that paprika on that the pork chops. A little paprika for some color. Clean as you go. We're gonna wipe it down good with soap powder. I mean soap and stuff, but you want to keep it clean as you go. Check those potatoes, they're looking good. Those potatoes are looking good. They started to float. We'll flip them once. Stove off. Move away from the heat. The reason I move away from the heat, so the heat can stop cooking the grease. Even though you turn the stove off, it's going to continue to cook and burn the grease, so you don't want to burn the grease. Yes, they got grease on them. We eat grease, and we're going to make sure we get remove as much grease as possible. Just give me 1 second. It's okay, guys. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Not fry hard, guys. Not French fries. Okay. Not fry hard. As you want it to go with the texture of your pork chop. Check it out. You want that to go with the texture of your pork chop. You don't want French fries. You want like a fried, nice potato to go like in between a baked potato and a fried potato. You want it to go with the texture of your meat. All right, that's about it, guys. We're gonna turn the fire back up. Let it steam right quick. We're gonna show you what we're working with. Oh shit. And but garlic batter, so garlic can't do nothing but get better. I love garlic. And this time I will use some garlic salt. And top it off with a sprinkle of salt. Remember, guys, you're not eating this food. If I touch it with my fingers, I gotta eat it. Go ahead and kill that fire. Pork chop done. That's one pork chop out the pan. 2. Some people like their A1 sauce and stuff on the refrigerator. I don't. To each his own. Let this damn pepper on my damn floor. Sorry, I gotta get another potato. It's fried pork chopped like a steak in about less than 30 minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in, and that's how you can cook a fried pork chop like a steak in less than 30 minutes with like fried potatoes on top. I'm rolling your live. Yes, a pork chop can taste like a steak. Good night. Good night, guys. Bon appetit. I hate the way this camera moves. Bon appetit. Hey, Steven, what's to eat? That's good. Damn. This tastes like a porterhouse. It's good. Try it, guys. Less than 30 minutes. It's good. Mm-hmm. Good night. My God, this thing is good for real. What you need?
Grab a fork.
I can't even make it to the table.
Just with me around.
Trying to find out with the bone at.
Oh, you're still alive? Okay.
Alright. I'm gonna eat this thing banging. Dang. Dang.